The prince fell to the ground. Suddenly, he saw his brother dragging a long tail. Even his stepmother had the same tail under her skirt. He wanted to tell his father, but the king was under the queen's control. The prince knew it was all over. His stepmother's secret had been revealed. She would never let him go. So the queen blew out a green breath and the prince's body began to shrink. He couldn't even hold his wooden sword. As the green breath invaded him, the prince turned into a nutcracker. Then his brother kicked him out the window. From that moment on, the country was controlled by a group of mice. The nutcracker floated downstream. 10 years later, the former nutcracker was acquired by a pawn shop owner named Reed. He fell in love with Mary, a dancer, and expressed his love for her. But Mary hated him. To win Mary's heart, Red threatened her with the enormous debt her late father owed him, forcing her to marry him. As he left, he gave Mary the nutcracker he held in his hand. As a symbol of his love, he demanded she give him an answer soon. When Mary returned to her room, she angrily threw the nutcracker aside. She looked at the family portrait, hoping she could return to her childhood and play with those dolls again. But to her surprise, her wish came true. A shooting star suddenly flew by, turning into a golden light that surrounded Mary. When she opened her eyes again, she realized she had turned into a miniature person. She panicked and ran to the door, trying to call out to her mother. But her mother thought it was a mouse and planned to buy a kitten to catch them. However, Mary was too small. This meant she didn't have to get married, but various dangers followed. Even the smallest objects could kill her in minutes. She had just dodged a nail when a makeup box fell and the dust it kicked up swallowed her. In an instant, she saw a large rat in the fog. With a very terrifying and ferocious expression, Mary fell to the ground and backed away. When the rat pushed her closer, she raised a pin to fight back, but the rat snatched it away. At the critical moment, the prince came to her rescue with his sword. He wasn't afraid of the rat, but the rat had a size advantage. Not only made it difficult for the prince to defend himself, but also knocked the sword out of his hand. When he fell to the ground, the rat turned toward Mary, but when it opened its mouth, it didn't bite. The prince grabbed its tail. The mouse was furious, pushed him to the ground, held him down with its claws, and opened its mouth to try to eat the prince. Then a sheep appeared. It knocked the mouse flying. The mouse stood up to confront the sheep, but was struck by a sudden fireball. It turned out to be Santa Claus firing a magic ball. The mouse was scared by the fireball and fled into the hole. Mary was confused by the dolls. Santa Claus explained that today was Christmas Eve, and it was her wish that brought the dolls back to life. Mary was happy to see her childhood dolls, but she was still sad. She didn't want to spend the rest of her life as a miniature person.